getting back to this idea, people don't choose between things. They choose between descriptions of things. And so this observation that we highlighted before, I'll share with you who came up with it. It was Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize-winning psychologist who's so badass that he won a Nobel Prize in economics, not his original field. And he worked a lot with another badass psychologist, Amos Tversky. And they spent a lot of time thinking about what we need to think about as lawyers, which is framing. And so one of their foundational studies and examples comes from the world of medicine. And they said, look, you can have a scenario that says, you're about to face a surgery, and Mr. Rieger, there's a 10% chance you're going to die if you elect to have the surgery. Or I could say, you're about to have a surgery, there's a 90% chance you're going to live if you elect to have the surgery. Now, 10% mortality rate and a 90% survival rate, exact same procedure. But why, Mr. Rieger, would patients be more likely to elect for the surgery when I frame it as 90% survival?
Because it's a good thing and it's a big number.
Say a little bit more.
I want to survive, and so I like that it's a big number. That sounds like it's going to be a good thing.
Great. And so what we're talking about here is a concept that I use in one of my classes a lot, particularly with Mr. Rieger, and that is the words under the words. This comes from a wonderful poem by the Palestinian American poet Naomi Shihai Nye. And we can look at it thinking about what are the words under the words of mortality. And so read one of the words.
Death, disease, failure.
Not something you want to get in a patient's mind necessarily. How about under survival?
Life, health, success.
No, I'm not talking about trying to manipulate people, but I want you to understand that when you use these words, there's going to be certain consequences, associations that go with them. You can think about it in a less grave scenario. So if I said to you there's going to be a 5% discount for using cash or a 5% surcharge if you use credit cards, that might affect which thing you reach for in your wallet. Or my favorite example of this comes from an experiment where someone said, here's a piece of meat, it's 75% lean. And then to a different group of folks, they said, here's the same piece of meat, it's 25% fat. And they reported liking the meat differently because how it's framed.